Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. We had an all about Star Citizen 3.17 Star Citizen not so live episode. This was a fantastic Q&A and interview with Todd Papy, Star Citizen live director. He talked about many topics and answered many a question. This is a summary of that. So let's jump in with the questions and their answers. Is there going to be a fuel rebalance in 3.17? What other fuel updates are there? So fuel is getting rebalanced in 3.17 along with the new refueling mechanics. They don't want you to have to refuel all of the time, but are roughly looking to balance this around 1.5 to 2 hours of ship use before needing to refuel. This will be affected by what ship you use, how you fly it, where you fly it, and they are still adjusting the numbers in the persistent universe in the PTU at the moment, and they're going to be tweaking the numbers after 3.17's release as well on an individual ship basis. But this will also include, and does include, tweaks to fuel scoops, max distances of ships in Quantum, speeds, all that sort of jazz too. There is no specific refueling missions in 3.17 though. Their current focus is largely on Squadron 42, combat, planetary nav mesh, AI and core features, but there's obviously a lot still being worked on for the persistent universe, and we'll come to that a little bit later. Can we sell armor from the pledge store? Can we sell our sort of account-bound items? So currently, account-bound items, so items that have been purchased with real money or appear in your hangar on the RSI website, so maybe it's Flare that you've got with the RSI subscription, they can't be sold in 3.17. They are unsellable, so you can't sell them by accident. So that'll be good. Interesting to know what happens if you loot them off another player. I suppose you still can't sell them. Will there be an inventory wipe in 3.17? They're not currently planning on any form of wipes for 3.17 other than the character customization and what landing zone you start at. That should be wiped as they always are. But 3.17 doesn't appear to have any wipes planned. They are trying to wipe less where possible. If there are exploits or problems, then they will wipe if necessary. Will there be only one type of hydrogen and quantum fuel in 3.17? Yes, there's only one type of hydrogen and quantum fuel in 3.17, though there will be grades of fuel in the future. This will tie into refining mechanics. Grades and quality of fuel will affect how efficient it is and how much wear and tear it causes, things like that. In the short term, refueling will not evolve much as a feature either. It's not going to get sort of like the mining treatment, as in getting lots and lots of evolution from patch to patch. The team that was working on refueling is now moving on to the incredibly important resource management systems, which deals with power engineering, damage control, routing, and physicalized components. This will also tie in with disabling ships and removing artificial health pools. Super important for the game. That team is also apparently working on life support and salvage currently. So there's a lot going on there. They are basically having refueling in place for Pyro, as that star system is big and it has less infrastructure than Stanton, and they need somewhere for players to get refueled easily. Are there any other milestones that have been hit other than selling and refueling in 3.17? Apparently there's been some updates to the dynamic events, so they can trigger them automatically now. They can get triggered by sort of systems that are in place rather than having to be manually triggered. And they mentioned the very awesome Proxus at CIG, who had to trigger them manually himself previously, apparently. How has the focus of Squadron 42 affected the persistent universe? So they're in the middle of an adjustment period at the moment while they're sort of moving over to extra focus on Squadron 42, with some teams moving over to do different tasks and finishing off older ones. They are getting Squadron into an alpha state. That's what their sort of goal is at the moment. And you're going to see a lot of features that they get with those core systems and Squadron then trickle down into the persistent universe. They still have a lot of teams working on the persistent universe as well though, so it's not all on Squadron 42, and there's a lot going on in the persistent universe in regards to features and content. We should see much more meaty and fuller features coming to the persistent universe as well, as they have basically been filtered through Squadron and they've added more sort of content to them and thought about more of their persistent universe implementation than they would have previously. So I like to see this as a shift to core features that are needed for both games, but Squadron 42 takes the lion's share of development resources. They are still sort of pushing to get Squadron 42 out as quickly as possible, which is good to hear. But you're still going to see a lot of work on the persistent universe. Can we expect more quality of life improvements in the near future? So they're constantly trying to improve quality of life for each major Star Citizen patch. However, it is based on team availability and scheduling, as well as complexity of a fix and quality of life of whatever element or feature that they're looking at. The star map is being worked on for Squadron 42 at the moment, and then will be overhauled in the persistent universe after that. So lots of things like that are going on in the background. Are feature reworks unique to Star Citizen's development? So Star Citizen does and has reworked its features, and they do sort of evolve over time. This is a unique situation for a game's development. They have had to do this as their game's scope has increased. So yeah. Is the coffee shop vendor a step towards something more substantial? So it's similar to a reskinned bartender. It was a junior designer's first task to get the sort of coffee shop vendor functional and finished out. This is pushing towards the black market vendor NPC that they have planned, and generally making the universe slightly more alive and sort of interactive. Will prices for items sold to vendors be fixed? This is an interesting question, because this is directly opposed to what they said in Inside Star Citizen. So apparently item prices are going to be fixed currently when you sell them. So that would be interesting to see. Maybe it's 50% of the value if they don't stock the item, and then 90% of the value or 50% of the value if they do. I don't know anymore. We'll have to wait until the live build to see what actually makes it in. My expectation is that shops will buy items that they specialize in. So if they sell FPS weapons, they'll buy FPS weapons. And if you don't expect to get more than 50% of the value of the item that you're selling, then you won't be disappointed if you only get 50%. Yeah? Rivers. What can we do in them? How do river mechanics? In 3.17, you can walk under the water as long as you've got your helmet on. Use bikes on the water as well, hover bikes. In the future, you'll be able to see sort of mud build up on ships and gear. Swimming will be added in the future too, but it's not a priority. Maybe fishing after core gameplay stuff is done, but again, not a priority. Any news on the implementation of the Quanta and Dynamic Universe simulations? So, this is good because it appears that last year's delayed Quanta stuff is now planned for 3.17. So, Alpha 3.17 will have the dictating of prices of fuel, both quantum and hydrogen, and repair materials with the Quanta system, with the quantum system. So that's dynamic prices based on what's going on in an area. The system will also dictate where service beacons can occur and their makeup, looking at probability volumes of pirate security forces and civilian freighters or miners. Basically, bam, this area is popular and lots of people are using quantum fuel there because there's lots of mining going on here, which has attracted a load of pirate forces, which has also attracted security forces to deal with them, and sort of NPC miners are getting attacked by these pirates because they found a sort of mining vein or something like that. And all these prices and all these sort of probability volumes are all affected by each other. And then when you go to a service beacon, it's going to represent what's going on in the universe. Each quarter will then build on this system further. Really excited for this. If it makes 3.17, it will be one of the biggest things, one of the most major milestones that the game's hit so far for the persistent universe, in my opinion. Will we be able to access a stolen ship's cargo? We apparently need the cargo refactor first, so whether or not we'll see that as a part of the rework and overhaul in 3.18, we don't know. Maybe it's something a little bit later, but we'll have to wait and see. Is there new mission content in 3.17? Not in the initial release, but there might be some for a 3.17.x patch apparently. Is asteroid scanning fixed? There have been various fixes for it. Some elements might need server meshing apparently to have more full fixes or to improve the system further. Will there be refuel beacons in 3.17? No, setting up refuel sort of service beacons is going to be in the future, but not for 3.17. You'll have to communicate via chat or set up a different type of service beacon, that sort of thing. What can you tell us about the desync improvements that have been reported in 3.17? So, EVOCATI have noticed some impressive desync improvements in 3.17. There is better time synchronization now, so you should more accurately see where your character or ship is. This has been absolutely fantastic, apparently. However, there is the potential for more jittering at higher speeds. So if you're in a ship going at high speed, you're more likely to see jitter or jitter in some situations. Now, they are going to continue to improve this and tweak this and take feedback. It appears to be quite a good short-term fix or improvement, but they want us to try it ourselves and then give feedback on it. But they're going to continue to improve the netcode after this anyway, because they have to for many years to come. Why are we only getting one river in Microtech? To start, why not multiple rivers? Well, there are plans to add more rivers to Microtech and other planets and moons already. It's just at this stage they want to test one out, and there wasn't enough time available to put loads in at this stage. But more in the future. Some other ship updates for 3.17. The Hull A is still getting updates and bug fixes, but it should all be good for 3.17. The Cyclone MT and P-72 will also be available to buy in-game in 3.17. The Hoverquad and Cutlass Steel should be available to buy in 3.18. So that's cool that they're adding all those ships and vehicles to in-game shops. There's been a complete rebalance of what's being sold in stores, apparently, as well. Many items can only be found when looting, so bear that in mind. If you're like going back to a shop when 3.17 starts to go, I thought they sold these items, or I was expecting to be able to buy this here. Well, maybe it can only be found in loot containers, and certain loot can only be found in specific areas in loot containers. So bear that in mind. Alpha 3.17 has a key binding as well that calls to the air traffic control. That's ergonomics for you. When multiple ATCs are in range, it will hold the closest one, though they might make it a bit more context sensitive in the future if necessary, like maybe you're in a car, in a vehicle, in a rover, and you're near multiple ATCs. It will just go to the one that's obviously that you're going to be calling to, which is a garage. Do you know what I mean? That sort of stuff. Anyway, boom. That's your summary of that Star Citizen Not So Live, that interview with Todd Papy. I thought there was a lot of interesting stuff in there. Really amazing to hear that we might get that start of Quanta in 3.17, the start of that quantum system dynamic universe simulation. Lots and lots of improvements going into 3.17 with the desync stuff. But what do you think? Are you excited for 3.17? Are you hoping that it's going to be a fantastic patch? What do you think it's shaping up to be? Do you think it's a bit light on content? Are you actually getting a lot more happy about it now? Have you been storing up loot and armor in preparation for 3.17, hoping there's not going to be a wipe? Do you own a Starfarer and are looking forward to the refueling mechanics, or are you worried about piracy occurring to you constantly and people setting up constant traps? Maybe you want fuel in 3.17. You're like, oh no, there's pirates have turned up, but I've been requesting fuel. They don't have a Starfarer at all. What mission content would you like to see in future patches? What would you like to see in terms of quality of life? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I am French and sophisticated. I am also French and also sophisticated. Let us go on a date. Neither of these people are French or sophisticated. It was me doing a funny voice, as well as showing the horrors of dating online and what happens if you accidentally catfish yourself with two of your own accounts. But French people don't talk like that even. No one does. NordVPN can make you appear to be in France, but it doesn't make you French, as I've now found out. It can be used to improve security or give you more accessibility to the internet. I can watch all my favourite shows. Get yourself NordVPN today in the links below and maybe be a better version of yourself. Now that's shilling for you. Every month we have a Star Citizen ship giveaway, and March is no different. We have a Crusader Industries Mercury Star Runner. This multi-crew, multi-role, cargo and data running ship is my favourite ship in the game. It has loads of little smuggling holes. It's got a good amount of armament. It can do a little bit of everything in the game at the moment. To be in for a chance of winning it, just comment on any of my videos made during March. More details in the description below. Please consider liking, subscribing, and potentially even clicking that join button under my videos to help further support the channel. Share the videos around with your friends and family. You'll occasionally get exclusive videos, posts, and polls that help influence the channel, along with emotes and badges to show your support. It really does help. There's also a Patreon and direct donations tool for those inclined. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you have a great March 2022.